Greetings from Cybertron. This is SoundJack here with another episode of SoundJack's Rambles. And today I'm joined by Alyssa.
Hello.
Miguel.
Hello.
And Eric through the power of the cell phone. We've been trying to get this recorded for a while. Unfortunately, things haven't gone quite well. They're still not going quite well because Eric cannot find his computer, but if we want to get this out in a reasonably timely manner, it's got to be tonight, the night we're recording, basically.
Yeah.
So, and Eric had this idea, so we're just going to send him the questions we're going to discuss, and then he'll send responses and we'll read them off here. So... yeah. Who's got it?
Yeah.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, no, I'm here.
Okay.
I said yeps. I don't know if you could hear me.
I couldn't hear you because there was either a very loud motorcycle or a huge truck driving by someone's window.
Oh.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I think that was me.
That's all good. Anywho, let's get started. And I think before really talking about the convention itself, let's just start with what did we get at the convention? Alyssa, why don't you start? I'm sure you've got a very long list.
Oh, I have the longest list. As we all know, I spent the most amount of money at this convention.
Oh, absolutely.
That's not true. So I decided. So are we counting things we bought like outside of the actual convention, or are we only counting things we bought at the convention center?
I mean, I included a couple of TF related things that I bought outside the convention, but I considered purchases from the convention because I wouldn't have bought them at that time otherwise because they were...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll include my other purchases. So I bought outside of the convention, I got a couple video games from a retro video game seller that was in Toronto. The store was literally like a room, not even like a big room, like a closet basically. That was just filled wall to ceiling with collectibles. But I got the other two Sly Cooper games, because I have the first one, but I got the second one, and I got both of them, which is really cool. And they were really both in like pretty much mint condition. Both of the manuals were like in there still. One of them, the third game, still had the 3D glasses with it, so it was like pretty much complete, which was really cool. Mm. And then I got Pong, which for the PS1, which like no one probably knows what that game is. But the only reason why I bought it is because in one of the other games that I have on my PS1 that I had as a kid, they always advertised that game. So I was like, well, now I gotta get it because I saw it all the time on the back of this thing. So I don't know how good of a game it is, considering it's a Hasbro Interactive game from the late mid-90s. I'm not too sure how good it'll be, but who knows. And then at the actual convention, I got a t-shirt. It was like a Snorlax t-shirt. It was really cute. And then I also got, I believe I just got Animal Crossing. I don't remember if I got any other video games.
No, yeah, you just got Animal Crossing because
I just got Animal Crossing. There was a very affordable Super Smash Bros. Melee, but I passed up on it because, like, as much as I like Smash Bros., I don't imagine I would have played Melee all that much.
Yeah.
To be honest. Motorcycle, go away! Whereas with Animal Crossing, like, I already know I like Animal Crossing a lot, so.
Yeah.
And I've never played the original, so I'm really excited to have it. And it came, and then one I got came with a memory card, which is really great.
Ooh, very nice.
So, yeah, all around, not too bad. I got things I liked, and the fact that they even had video games at the convention at all was great because normally TFCon is a little lax or a little sparse on the video game side.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what I have to say on that.
Okay. Cool.
That's all my purchases.
Nice. We have yet to succeed in making Alyssa buy an actual Transformer.
Yeah. Whoever gets me to buy a Transformer gets some sort of prize. I don't know what that prize is going to be, but
just say that it's the Transformer you buy, and then we can shut up about it.
Oh my god. I don't even know what Transformer I would get because I'm just so not interested in the toys, I guess.
Okay.
But that's just me.
Maybe you just
or at
haven't
least
found
not enough to spend my own real life money on it.
Yeah. Or maybe you just haven't found the right character yet to obsess over.
Maybe.
Like Miguel with Nemesis Prime. And while that would have been a good transition, I'm actually going to read off what Eric sent first.
Okay.
And then I'll go to Miguel, and then I'll talk about what I got.
Man.
All right.
Go for it.
So what Eric said was, too much, but all the exclusives, Iron Factory, DJD, and Blue Streak, the legend-sized Barricade and Black Wheeljack, Black Revenge of the Fallen Optimus, Fanshoppy Scourge and Trailer, Movie 1 Starscream Incinerator, Prime, Skyquake, Thundertron, and Revoltech Bleeding Edge Iron Man, and some more, but that's off the top of my head. That Black ROTF Prime is my favorite among them. So,
gotcha.
That's what Eric got, and again, I wish he could be here to talk more in detail. But unfortunately, it is what it is. Miguel, what did y'all get? What did you get?
What did y'all get?
What did y'all get? Yeah. With how much you got enough for y'all.
You and the other 5 Miguels that exist in your closet get.
Yeah, all my clones.
He has a different Miguel for each day of the week.
What happens on Saturday and Sunday?
I don't know.
It's a rotational schedule.
Okay.
So it's like one Miguel gets Saturday and Sunday, and then the other 5 do the rest of the week, and then another one gets it, and then the schedule shifts.
All right.
I guess.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I got a mountain of stuff, many of which are still kind of set up in the arrangement that I had in my big haul photo, which I am using as reference to remember everything that I got. Starting off with the stuff I didn't actually pick up on the show floor, but these were gets the Friday before the show actually kicked off. Stumbled into.
Hold on, my microphone fell. It is currently, for those of you at home, my microphone is currently precariously perched on the back of my on the futon I'm sitting on. So, yeah.
Very nice.
I make some good decisions.
Yes, you do. Anyway,
Sorry,
Miguel.
Yeah, continue with your haul list.
All right, so we went venturing out to into Toronto proper on the Friday before the convention, actually, the opening ceremonies and everything Friday night. We stumbled into an EB Games, which are way better than any GameStop I've been into in the States. And we were able to find the latest wave of Battle Masters and Micromasters. So I picked up the latest wave of Micromasters. Michael, help me. I don't remember their names.
It was the Blackjack and Hyperdrive set, right? It's Blackjack and Hyperdrive, and I think that's it.
So Blackjack and Hyperdrive, which I realize now are somewhere next to me. Oh, they're over there. Along with Caliburst, because I had SmackDown and then didn't buy Caliburst. And Caliburst was there, and I was like, you know what? Why not? I'm here. This weekend's about spending money. Proceeding into the show itself, one of the things that I had seen on Twitter that I was like, I need to go get that. Vengsta was debuting a new kit to turn Power of the Prime's Inferno into either Hosehead or Cab, essentially. Like, you either get the Master Force white chest and head variant or the gray one. Things happened, and he wasn't really selling the kits at the show. However, I was able to get, probably because of the fact that I was pestering him all weekend, I was actually able to not walk away, but obtain two both variants of the kit, which is good because now those are exclusive to like a membership on his website, which is weird.
Huh.
But yeah, he's doing now smaller runs, specifically, I guess, for people who have spent like in the long term of his career making custom pieces. Those people were able to kind of opt into this membership. He recently put up the head kits for the membership, and then a bunch of swords and axes and stuff, along with any other little bits and bobs that he's been selling up on renderform.com. So go there if you want to see some like really neat kind of G1/movie hybrid swords for the Studio Series Bumblebee Optimus, along with the Siege Optimus, and then an axe that goes for both of them too.
Ooh.
But the Pyro kit, he had a limited availability and stuff at the con. Was able to pick some stuff up. That was cool. Some other stuff that I grabbed. RID tow line and skids,
Ooh.
along with their respective jet, like G2, Cyberjet counterparts, whose names I don't remember. Those were all in one bag during the Let's Make a Deal after the auction, the charity auction.
Yeah.
Picked up those along with a KO of T-Rex that is deluxe size. So that's the Beast Wars Megatron mold. It's deluxe size. I thought it was cool, so I picked that up.
Mm-hmm.
Rounding around, because afterward we then started hitting up the room sales that night. I was able to grab, which for a time seemed to be my con get, and probably still is, a complete just needs to be dusted Transmittal 2 Megatron from Beast Wars. I was so hype about. Eric, unfortunately, was the one who found it. He was holding it, and then he realized he didn't have the cash for it. So then I was like, so if you're not going to get it, can I get it? And he's like, you can get it. And then he gave it to me, and I bought it.
Oh.
Shout out to Eric for
sacrificing the get, yeah. That was the only thing I picked up on the Friday night at the con proper. Then Saturday rolled around, and I picked up a slew of stuff. I was able to grab the Pyro kit, which I mentioned. I say Pyro, now it's Hosehead or Cab. I keep calling it Pyro.
It should have been Pyro, really.
Between Saturday and Sunday, because I can't remember what I got which days. Deluxe G2 Megatron in the purple, which I believe was a Takara exclusive, like a Takara release. Spy Changer G1 Optimus Prime from the Spy Changer Scourge mold. Arc Unicron, which is the United version of the Cybertron Unicron deluxe toy. Alternity Black Convoy, First Edition Bulkhead, Universe 2008 Nemesis Prime from STCC, a Beast Wars 10th Anniversary Deluxe Tarantulas, the BotCon 2007 Vector Sigma that goes with Alpha Trion, a KO, and this was neat, there's a KO of Combiner Wars Devastator that's done in the same scale as the other Combiner Wars combiners. There was a couple of tables that had these. One of them specifically was selling them like hotcakes. Like, the dealer room open, and this guy was just flinging them out and everything. It was almost like you went to a bakery right and open. He was just like handing out loaves of bread, to the point of where Eric and I were both there. There was another thing Eric also got, because we were there asking, like, oh, how many you have left? The guy turned around, looked at a pile of them. He's like, I got 5 more. And it's like, we'll take 2. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Galaxy Force Vector Prime. Now, the Japanese release of Vector Prime, not the Cybertron Galaxy Force repaint, to be specific.
Yep, because that's a thing.
Along with a Galaxy Force Sound Blaster. Both of these were mint and sealed box. Vector Prime no longer is. Black Convoy. Sound Blaster will remain mint and sealed box. Arms Micron Leo Prime. Beast Wars Air Razor complete, to replace the one that I had that was incomplete. Creon Alpha Trion, the Creon Microchanger release, not the class of 85.
Yeah.
I think he's a class of 85 release. The Fans Project Shadow Commander set to go with the SDCC Nemesis, or specifically the SDCC Nemesis I actually already own. The MISB one was cheapish, so I was like, I'll grab that, have it, mint seal box. And rounding out the list, some other additional render form weapons, like one for Metal Hawk, a random sword, something for Ruination from Unite Warriors, some repro label sets, I picked up 2 sets to convert Siege Prowl into an Auto Trooper. I had an extra Siege Prowl that I was able to already sticker up. I need another Siege Prowl. I also picked up the set for Siege Laser Beacon Ravage, which I realize now I do not know where the envelope is, so I'm going to go hunt that down later. And then, rounding it out, picked up TFCC TFSS, the final set released, I believe, Toxitron, Counterpunch, and Shatterglass Starscream from the Combiner Wars mold. So Toxitron was the main thing I was hunting down. This seemed to be the only one that was on the show floor, at the very least the only one that I was able to find. There might have, if there was another one, it was probably part of the early bird hour. And then the last 2 things, the last 2 things, which I found the day I was leaving, stopped at 2 separate EB games and was able to pick up 2 Wreck-Gars to complement the other 2 Wreck-Gars I already had from Power of the Primes, to combine them with Hose Head or Cab to become Dumpster Fire.
Such a great name.
So all in all, a very, very splendid haul, a very big haul. And then overall, very, very nice to pick a lot of this stuff up. The dealer room was, I think, a bit kinder on the Saturday as far as like stuff being available. Once Sunday rolled around, you could tell, at least there was this like feeling of like, yeah, all the good stuff's been picked at already. Yeah. And unfortunately, there was at least one dealer who I was intending on going back to pick something up from, who on Saturday, I'm pretty sure told me he was still going to be there the full weekend. And then on Sunday, he was gone.
Was it the guy? You know what I'm talking about? It was
the guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And he had told me that he would have been there the next day too, so.
Right, it was very strange because the person who was left at his in his spot had like a bunch of like LED like light up stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Or he was next to the guy who got set up, who had the LED stuff. It was a very, like, I circled the room, and I was like, am I just not remembering right where I need to be? And after, like, looping a couple times, like, no, he was here. Like, where'd the guy go? I wanted to buy something from him. So that was unfortunate. But all in all, I'm very happy with my haul. Like, as far as transit casualties, I drove to Toronto versus flying, learning from my mistakes, or at least trying to learn in some way from my mistakes from Chicago. And I'm happy to report that the only thing that happened was that I may have added an extra crease to SDCC Nemesis's box. Although upon review of some pictures I had of the dealer room floor, some of the creases that existed on his box were there on the one when I picked it up. So part of it was like, I should have looked at this. I should have looked at the figure, or at least the box, more closely before I bought it. But at the same time, it's like, not the end of the world. It's a 11-year-old box at this point.
Yeah.
There should be some. You would expect there to be some creasing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and as I've opened and messed with stuff since the con, nothing's broken yet. So I'm still pretty happy with everything I picked up. But yeah, Michael, go.
All right. So when we went to the EB Games, I also picked up the Micromaster pack I already mentioned, and I got both Smashdown and Caliburst. And then at the charity auction, I did in fact win. Hold on. Yeah, I won 2 items. I won a random lot of bots, which I wasn't going to bid on in the first place, but I noticed that there were a couple of bots from the Bakery Bites and Lawn League sets, and I'm like, I gotta. And I'm gonna have to bleep that out later.
The thirst on this man for bot bots is very real.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I gotta get it. And I did win the auction. And I was like trying to judge how much it was based on what they said, how many there were in there. And I was like, oh, there were a lot more in here than they said. Cool. And I also won a Minton box. I think it's Minton box. The Beast Wars Microverse Arachnid playset. I was just like, that's cool. I'm going to try to bid for it. And me and the other guy that were bidding for it, like, put our hands down at the same time. And I'm just like, sure, why not?
Amazing.
So that was good. Room to room stuff. Oh, before the first one was before the charity auction even happened. I saw a listing on the board of a dude that had a Generations Gears, and I'm like, dude, that's like one of the few G1 Autobot dudes I'm missing. And I went there basically like right as soon as he was ready at 6. And I got there and I picked that up. I picked up a Prime Thundertron.
Mm-hmm.
And also TFCC Slipstream, which I went to the group chat to be like, hey, do you think it's worth it for 25 Canadian? And I feel like Miguel would have smacked me for being like, why would you ask that? It was just so incredulous of like, you're going to pass up on that amazing mold? Like, I guess I'm not. And then I did go back to get Eric his Thundertron, but he paid me back, so. And I almost forgot for the make me an offer after the charity auction. I found 2 things of note. I found a complete Cybertron Soundwave, which has since been converted into a SoundJack and Rationale figure that I gave to Grimlockamus to customize into. And it looks so great. I'm not going to have it until October, once TFCon DC is over, but it looks so good. Check out Grimlockmus's Twitter to check that out. He does amazing stuff. And also, crazily enough to me, a Titans Return Pounce, which was only in one $100 exclusive set. That was very hard to come by. And I'm like, how is this here? How am I only going to get him and Soundwave for $15? It was kind of nuts. But for the rest of the room-to-room stuff, first we went into a room and I found a complete Rampage, Beast Wars Rampage, with minimal chromeware. And again, everything working. So I picked that up. Then I went to another room. And there was... Miguel, which version is it? It's the... Which version of Unicron is it?
You picked up the... So it's the G1... It's the G1 retool of Armada Unicron, which was released 3 separate times. There's the 2010 Takara release. You have the original Hasbro release, which is it was an Amazon exclusive in the States. It was a Toys R Us exclusive in Canada. And then there's the Platinum version, which uses a similar deco. It just, some of the colors are a bit, like, as far as, like, I don't even know how you would describe it. Maybe, like, the saturation on some of the colors is a bit different. And the molds obviously degraded a lot more since that use. But as far as and I probably can say this now that I've seen the 2010 one in person, as much as the 2010 one in photos looks like, oh yeah, that's Unicron, I think in person, I like the Amazon one better.
Yeah, because that does look very bright and colorful, but I can definitely imagine that being a bit garish in person.
Yeah, quite garish, and honestly, like, as much as, like, the oranges and everything, at least I think immediately the orange is what people think is like, oh, that's accurate and everything. Once you look at some of the other details, you're like, this doesn't feel quite right. Whereas the Hasbro versions do more, in my opinion, although they seem to kind of lean more almost toward, like, a Marvel comic style.
Yeah.
But yeah. Regardless, I think they're the better of the variants.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one you picked up for 100 Canadian.
Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm gonna be leaving 1 second.
Okay. It was 130 Canadian, but like almost $100 US.
So it was 130 Canadian?
Yeah.
So it was 100.
No, it was $100 US.
Okay.
But it was still a good deal.
Yeah. Oh god, that those room sales were not kind to you.
No, I got it 60 Canadian Rampage, $130 Unicron, and then we went to another room and I'm like, I can't buy anything more. No, wait, and then I don't remember what order, but I saw a dude that had a couple of tiny Wheeljacks for sale. One of them is the Prime version that was like a thrilling 30th anniversary, and one of them is, you got a couple of these. You know what I'm talking about, the like the one Alpha Trion you have. It's like the PVC.
Oh, you got an FCF?
Yeah, an FCF.
Wheeljack?
Yeah, an FCF pewter Wheeljack.
Oh, the pewter one. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Did you see it?
I don't remember that.
Well, I'll show you.
Now I feel bad. I think.
And then that.
I think. I'm almost fairly certain there may have been the regular SCF at NJCC this past weekend.
Oh.
Because there was a guy who had like 4 cases of SCFs that were open.
Oh.
That's how I got my Alpha Trion.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, my Alpha Trion came with the pewter Build-A-Figure Scorponok with everything but his legs.
Nice.
Which the SCFs are only supposed to bring one of each, like one piece of the Build-A-Figure. So that was very bizarre.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I feel like a dunce. I should have picked that up.
It's all good. It's all good.
Did you say you sent me the picture of the SCF? I'm confused.
No, I had it. I showed it on the webcam.
Oh, I'm not looking at.
Oh.
I don't see it. Oh, hold on.
I had it on to show you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I did not remember that you got that.
Yeah. And then I also got this wheeljack, this tiny prime wheeljack.
I remember that one. Oh yeah, those were weird. Those like big-headed things.
Yeah, I'm just like, it's wheeljack. How can I say no? And I don't remember if it wasn't the same room, but I also got a first edition bulkhead. It was definitely a US release because
because we had that very fun exchange.
Yeah,
I thought that guy was kind of like offended.
Yeah.
When I was like, I don't want it.
Yeah, you didn't want it, but I was like, I don't care. It's $55 US.
Right, and like just to explain to the people listening, the reason why I was like, oh no, if it's from the US, I don't want it, is because for those who may not know or may not remember, first edition, aside from the first wave of deluxes, the rest of first edition was not available in the US when it was originally released. It was available in Canada. Believe it was available in the UK, but I might be mistaken. And it was available in Hasbro Asia territories. A year later, the rest of the waves, and along with the other size classes, so all the deluxes and the Voyagers, were released. I don't think the 2-pack with Optimus and Megatron was ever released in the States. They were released a year later as Toys R Us exclusives. The problem there is that those second runs had noticeably, or at least seemingly lower quality control. Prime, for whatever reason, between the production batches, lost a paint app underneath his window, so he has like a splotch of unpainted gray plastic, which is weird. And Bulkhead noticeably, or at the very least, it would seem more noticeable on the US release, more easily stresses on his like chest panels. So personally, that's where I was looking for a Canadian release to potentially not deal. I haven't opened it yet, so I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
She's either blowing her nose or eating soup.
I am blowing my nose.
Okay.
I'm back, by the way.
Yeah, we could tell.
Sorry for interrupting Miguel with my sneezing.
It's all good. But you did get that Bulkhead, but it was a bit more, though it was mint and sealed box, right?
It was mint and sealed box, and I had to argue. Like, with the guy in the US, I had to argue, or not argue, but kind of explain the fact. It's like, no, the US release has some lower quality, or seems to have some lower quality issues. And then when I bought the Canadian one, I had to go back and forth with the guy. I was like, yeah, these weren't released in the States. It's like, yes, they were. He's like, no, they weren't. I'm like, yes, they were. I'm from the States. I was there. I bought one at Toys R Us.
Yep.
On Black Friday in like 2011, 2012, whenever it was. God, that was fun. Yeah. There was a lot of talking to people and kind of realizing I was more educated, or not more educated, but I seemed to have more detailed knowledge on some of the things I was buying and the people selling them to me, which is probably better than the reverse, where they have more detailed knowledge of what they're selling to you than you do, because then you might buy something and be like, oh yeah, I'm buying this. And it's like, no, this is a KO. And it's like, what? Yep. Yeah, very true. Very true. And then I'll have an interesting story for that later, but I'll just save that till the end. So that's all I got the Friday. The dealer room hadn't even opened yet, and I'm like, wow. At this point in the weekend, Michael had spent the most out of the three of us. Yes. I say three, I mean Michael, myself, and Eric. Yes. And Janine and Alyssa too, because they didn't buy much.
No, we just kind of took in the atmosphere.
Did you say Janine?
Smelled the
Maybe
very
I did. I
distinct
meant Janae.
smell
I'm
of
sorry.
Con BO. You know how it is.
Yeah. And I also forgot. I forget when this happened, but whenever we went to the Toys R Us and Walmart, I picked up the Tiny Turbo Changer Top Spin from Series 5 because that was the only one they had. I'm like, they're not in the US. I'm going to take it. So, in terms of other things, after finding the complete rampage, I went to Capture the Praise table and ended up finding a complete depth charge for 30 Canadian. Complete in pristine condition.
I will say, because upon like scrutinizing the one that you picked up,
yeah,
it seems like one of his discs was sun damaged or something.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at mine, I think the discs just never were quite the same color.
Yeah.
Because some of mine look lighter than the others, so it was a thing. But that was something I recently was messing with mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, $30 for depth charge Canadian.
Yeah.
Like that's really for a complete one. That's great.
Yep.
Because I paid like mine. I think I paid $25 for mine in the box, and I was like this, it was open and everything, but it's still like, this is amazing. Like, so that's another great find.
Yep. And speaking of great finds, this didn't happen the same day, but late on Sunday this was, because I had like a few extra bucks, and I'm like, I'm going to spend it, and I was just digging through Capture Praise stuff, and I found 3 different Japanese minicons. Very rare ones. 2 of them were from the Micron booster sets. Those were Break and... God, I forget. It's a weird name, that much I know. But it's based off the Classics Pteranodon mode minicon. It is Reptix. I was going to say Windraiser because that's in that pack, but that's for a different version of that mold, if that makes sense. So Reptix. And then what was like a store exclusive during the Cybertron line, one of the I think it's Hyakurai, it's one of those that has like a weird name, and even in Japanese it's a weird name, but it's the air. It's one of the jets from the original Mata that also turns into a gun. That one in white. And it was very, very nice. And also in terms of minicons, I got these at the same table. I got all these mint sealed in package, a complete Shadow Recon minicon team, and the 3 Cybertron 2 packs that make up... I forget the name of the team names, but it's Shockwave versus Tankor, Skylynx versus Thunderblast, and Razor Claw versus Steamhammer. So, minicon wise, definitely was doing good. Not the last of my minicons, but I also picked up Quillfire when I got those Japanese minicons, and those Japanese minicons, like, they were 3 and 4 Canadian each. That was cheap. That was so good. I'm like, I've paid for US minicons for more than this. And then, again, towards the end of the convention, when I had some extra cash, I was like, ooh, Animated Swoop, let's grab you. Also, the movie Allspark Power crankcase from the first movie based off the Cybertron Red Alert mold, which is being a stand-in for crankcase for the time being. Probably until whenever Hasbro gets around to making a new crankcase. I mean, considering all of these obscure characters they're doing right now, I'm like, it's possible. Oh, and then I also
we have Spinister coming out, so hopefully at the end of each line they release one more of the scavengers.
Yeah, we just need crankcase and Fulcrum because we've got flywheels. We have flywheels.
We have Croc.
We've got Grimlock from Power of the Primes. Um,
And Misfire.
yeah, Misfire. So literally just 2 more. And
Fulcrum will probably be a Titan Battle Master, because that seems right now that seems to be where they put the IDW original characters.
yeah, because Rung is a thing and he's a gun. Granted, Fulcrum turned into a bomb, so like, I can absolutely buy that. But yeah, so Crankcase. And then I also forgot early on, I found 2 very weird old oddities. First is like a Wheeljack, but it's like a book clip, and it's got like the Autobot symbol at the bottom instead of his legs, but he's still got his arms and fists. But like, it seems like the face is molded more so after the toy design, so it's very interesting. And then a Soundwave that is just like a weird static figure, but has like room to it. And like, texture wise, the closest thing I can say is it's an eraser, but it doesn't actually erase, I don't think.
Show it on the screen?
Sure. Oh, I didn't realize I still had my camera on. It's good. Yeah, it's this.
It looks like an... I'm not sure. Is it on the wiki?
No.
Oh,
No. And the Wheeljack isn't.
Is it potentially not a licensed product?
There's a stamp on the side that says Hasbro 85. So, if it's not, I'd be very, very surprised.
Right.
I kind of wonder if like the Soundwave might have been like a party favor from like Party City or something. Also, it's weird because like his like right hand has his gun, but like that whole gun is just fused to his lower leg by design. And I find that slightly funny. But double checking, I didn't miss anything else. Nope. Okay, we can talk about the gosh darn biggest thing, which is mint and sealed package Micron Legend Linkage Set Volume 1, which includes a comic, a DVD of the Japanese version of the cartoon, and this set specifically has 3 unique minicons. These were all Japanese exclusive, and not a lot of people bought them at the time. They're honestly so rare that straight up, we were at the table and the guy was asking us Miguel found this for me at the table that he was saying like he wanted to buy something from someone and he was gone the next day.
Right, this was the guy who I had bought Sound Blaster and Vector Prime from, and he had a vast array of like just selection of different Unicron Trilogy figures, but specifically the Japanese versions.
Yeah. And
up on the top on the shelf, everything he had was priced with Post-it notes, and this set wasn't. And I was like, I recognized it. I'm like, wait, that's one of the linkage sets, really. And I was like, how much is it? And he's like, that's the thing. I don't know. And he told me the whole story, and I was like, and I told him, I'm like, listen, like, I'm not blowing smoke or anything. I have a friend who's nuts about these minicons. Like, I have no interest in that. He might. And then I turned around and went the opposite direction, and Michael started walking down in the same aisle, and I'm like, I kind of like yelled that out for him.
You were just like, Michael, rare minicons. And I'm like, what?
Well, and I was like, I said, this is what I said. I was like, do you know what the linkage minicon set is? And Michael was like, yes. Why? I'm like, someone has the 3-pack. And he was like, where?
Yep. Perfectly in the box, everything there, not even the plastic has been touched. And the story that he told Miguel and was telling me is he got this like years ago, like when it came out. Not a lot of people bought it. So now not a lot of people sell it, to the point where he had absolutely no clue what to price it. And I was asking around for a few people, and they had no clue what to price it.
The unfortunate thing was that, in retrospect, after Michael bought the thing, is when I realized that there was at least one person on Twitter he probably should have asked, and ultimately that person did kind of have a price in mind, but more on that later.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was going back and forth because it was going to be a lot regardless. And then before all of this, there was one guy he asked, and he was like, that should be like $400. And he said he wasn't going to do that. And then I just kind of threw out a number I thought was reasonably high. And then he's like, no, I don't think I can let it go for that. I think my lowest would be $250 Canadian. I'm like, okay, let me think. And I honestly, like, straight up was like going through all this rigmarole, trying to figure it out, and eventually I just caved. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And then he did say, like, I'm glad this is going to someone that is going to care and appreciate it. I'm like, thank you. And it's great. And then I did talk to the person that Miguel suggested from Twitter. It was Scotty P.
Yes, Scotty P, who is from the Twincast podcast on Sabertron.com.
Yeah.
For those of you who might listen or might want to have a listen. Those guys get into some very interesting toy topics at times. And Scotty, along with like Counterpunch and some of the others, are very much toy people, but like not main, like they get into their niches. So Scotty's is mini-cons. So
yeah. Yes. And I brought up the tweets to just double check what he said. I told him exactly the scenario. And I was like, do you think, because this was after the fact, I'm like, do you think that was a good price? And he said on the spot that he would think that's pretty high. However, the closest listing he could find was of the Volume 3 set, which only includes one mini-con. I was going for the same price. And 250 Canadian, by the way, is like 190 USD. So, and he said his gut would have said $100 to $140 US, but in that condition, but he said last he got them, it was years ago. So, and they haven't, again, showed up too much. The unfortunate thing is, like, last week I decided to eBay it, and there was someone selling the loose version of this set for $80. It only had the mini cons, so they were definitely out of the packaging. They didn't have the comic nor the DVD, but still, $80 or $90. I can't remember right now, but I'm still excited and pleased I got this because at the very least, this was an incredible experience. Just getting this in this condition, even.
Lots of high energy and everything.
Yeah.
If I remember right, did the guy say that other people had asked or like shown interest, or?
I don't think anyone did. I don't think he said anything about that.
I feel like he said people have asked him, but no one seems to have really like kind of gone for it. So yeah. I think you were the one person in the end. Like, thankfully, or not thankfully, but I guess the guy was thankful. It's like it left to a good home, and someone could appreciate it.
Yeah. The one thing was, at one point I was trying to get more cash, and then I realized I couldn't, and I said I can bring it to you tomorrow, and he was like, okay, I can hold it here till tomorrow. I'll discuss it with my girlfriend, but she'll probably say just sell it, and then I'll give it to you tomorrow. And then he was gone Sunday, so I'm like, odd.
Good thing you bought it.
Yes.
If anything, because he did at some point when I mentioned I mentioned I was from the States. I might have mentioned I was specifically from New Jersey. He started asking me about Hershey Park for some. Like, apparently he was planning on taking his kids to Hershey, and he wanted to know if it was a good, like, it'd be a good time, like a good trip for the kids, like if there's enough to do. And I'm like, yeah, there's tons to do, and there's a whole water park too.
Yeah.
So the kids would love it. So if anything, stalk Hershey Park and you might find him.
It's funny. I actually went to Hershey Park very recently, so maybe I bumped into him and I didn't even know it.
Oh, that'd be great. But yeah, so that's us finally through everything we got. But I want to kind of have used what my story as a jumping off point. And ask, what was your favorite thing that happened at the convention that weekend? Like, just personally, crazy stories, etc. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So who wants to go? Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go.
Okay.
There were a number of things that happened that were really fun. Like hanging out with everyone was definitely a big highlight. You, Alyssa, Michael. Yes, you, Alyssa, and Michael.
Me, myself, and Miguel. Me, myself, and
Eric.
Yes.
You, Alyssa, Eric's younger brother, Diecast and Melvar from Radio Free Cybertron. Even seeing other people, like I specifically was able to meet up with some people who I'd known online for a long time, who I actually never met in person, and even like people who getting a decent amount of talking time with people who I've never met before, and like Daryl and Charles from Transmissions,
yes,
for one, in the bar. God, what night was that? It was Saturday night, and then I spoke at length with Vangelis on the Sunday night. So there's a lot of social like interaction that I really enjoyed. But I will say that probably my highlight of the con was one of the guests at the con was Aaron Archer. For those who don't know, Aaron Archer, or for those who need a reminder, Aaron Archer was the lead designer on Transformers from around like 1998 until 2010 or 11.
I want to say it was around there.
Around there. Like, he worked from Beast Wars up through, I believe when early Age of Extinction stuff was happening was when he kind of dropped off. I don't know if he worked on anything outright, but he was still involved.
In 2013, he resigned.
2013. All right, I was close. He was present, and he was selling some original art. And one of the things I wanted to get from him was a signature. I brought with me my childhood Armada Optimus Prime, which was one of the figures he designed. He also had a whole panel where he talked at length about the early development of Armada, which was really cool. And he showed off some pretty interesting like design documents and early like how they. You probably would have really liked this panel, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't realize what specifically was happening at that panel, and I didn't go, and I regret it.
Like, some of the stuff he showed off was like some of the like how they got essentially from the early like proposal docs all the way to like figure concepts.
Yeah. And
showing like spreadsheets of like character names. And it's like, if we can't call this guy, we're going to call him this instead. Yeah, there's a whole spreadsheet. It's like, okay, we're going to call him Hot Shot. If not, we'll try like Bumblebee and all. I know it's like Bumblebee, then Hot Shot, then all this other stuff.
Yeah.
One of the things he said was the reason why the Armada Autobots specifically, and the Decepticons had such a variance in vehicle modes, was the intention was that different missions would require them to dispatch different units. Like, oh, we have to go to the desert, send out Optimus and like Red Alert. Mm-hmm. Versus like something that requires more speed, you then send out Blur and Hot Shot or something. But then apparently the Japanese studio was like, no, the good guys have to be there. The main characters always have to be present. So that's where you get episodes like all the Autobots driving underneath the water on the ocean floor.
Yep. You know what?
is good.
You know what could have worked really well? If they had that concept but used the mini-cons. Like...
Right, you can
I feel like everything in Transformers would go up five rungs in the Michael approved scale if it was just with mini-cons.
Well, no, the mini-cons were also very varied, so I agree with that. Like, it's like, oh, we need either it's like based off of the terrain, send some of these mini-cons who are good at that, or it's like, oh, you have a smaller mission, send the mini-cons in, and then have someone supervising.
Yeah. Because guess what? Anyway, the mini-cons got no personality in the cartoon.
If I remember right, he talked a bit about why that happened. I think it was mostly because they had so many characters. Like they at one point were going to give all the mini-cons personalities, and then they didn't.
Yeah.
But then the comics continued that route, and he was like, I think it was like a back and forth of whether or not that was the comics doing their own thing or the comics going off of earlier design earlier docs.
Yeah.
So what I brought with me was my childhood Armada Optimus Prime, who's missing a bunch of accessories and everything, and I got him to sign that, which was really cool. And then he was selling art, and one of the things he had was a sort of bust shot of head and like upper torso and whatever of Super Mode Optimus colored. He had two versions. He had one that was black and white, and that one had like creases and stuff, and was kind of like, and was the more recent one that he's shown a lot of this artwork on Instagram. And then the colored one was from last year, and that one was still in good condition and everything. So I'm like, oh, I'll grab this and everything. And so meeting him and whatever, then going to the panel was all really, really fun. Got to chat with him for a little bit. He was a really cool dude.
Yeah. I'll read what Eric sent next, to which he says, seeing you guys and visiting a certain kind of store that was way more of a whack adventure than I expected. And
if you want details on Eric's adventures in Canada, and his experience with local delicacies, tune into both the Friday and the Sunday Podcasters Roundtable. Most likely available on the Nerdy Geek Talk Network at some point. We'll have that audio.
Yeah.
I believe the Friday Roundtable is still available on Vangelis's YouTube account. The Sunday Roundtable cut out at like 10 minutes in from what I saw, or something like that. Like the live stream didn't record everything. So
okay.
But yeah, tune into that to dive deeper into what Eric was up to while he was in Canada.
Yes, because we cannot talk about it here.
Or at the very least, we don't want to at the time.
Yeah. Alyssa, what was your story? What's your story?
I was born in White Plains, New York, and but and then I went to elementary school and I made some friends.
I meant about TFCon.
Oh, that's what we were talking about. That's right. I mean, most of the convention was pretty chill. I actually spent a lot of it in the hotel room because the convention lined up right with my finals for school, so that was great. I had to stay in the room and do a lot of writing and homework, which sucked. But I mean, I'm not as into Transformers as these guys, so it wasn't a huge loss. I was really excited and happy that we got to go to Toronto because I think when we went to the TFCon Chicago, we kind of got the short end of the stick because you didn't actually go into Chicago all that much.
Yeah.
Which sucked, IMO. But we were at. But you know, we went to Reston. We didn't go to Reston. We went to Mississauga was really nice, and yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, Miguel, it is indeed TFCon. All right, I'm feeling lonely. That's right. Miguel is waving because I can see through the video that he's waving a thing at me, which is the
drinks menu,
the special drinks menu they had at TFCon, which I didn't try any of them, but I'm going to assume they were good. Miguel is giving me a thumbs up.
Which was the better one in your opinion? Because I was there when you and Eric were trying a couple, and I don't remember which one. I know you had the Tigatron and Quick Strike.
I only had the Quick Strike, okay. So I can't comment on the others.
Oh yeah, that's right. Ooh,
oh.
And now he's showing
cool
art.
Miguel is showing us some of the artwork he got, and that Rampage looks sweet AF.
Rampage?
Aren't you guys proud? Oh, is it not Rampage?
No, it's Armada Optimus Prime.
Oh, I suck.
You were going to say, aren't you guys so proud I could identify that character?
I myself because I am just a bad Transformers fan. I just don't know the things. So you can't get angry at me.
Yeah. I mean, I could say, like, we can rectify that by showing you Armada, but, you know, I don't know if I want you to necessarily have to deal with that.
Look, if I can get away with not watching crappy Transformers cartoons, then I will.
Miguel, do you think it'd be worth it to show her Armada?
I think it would be worth it to show her select episodes of Armada.
Yeah.
Probably the Armada, like off the top of my head, the intro episode.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like the opening episode, maybe the immediate episode next after it. Each of the episodes that introduce a character,
yeah,
or a character has some sort of major character growth.
Yeah.
The episodes with the weapon teams.
Yes.
And then maybe most if not all of the Unicron battles.
Yeah, that's what
very highlight reel of Armada.
Yeah. Energon, no.
Don't bother with the episode where the kids take the Requiem Blaster minicons on the train.
I'm going to be honest, that was the first episode that came to my mind when you said the weapon episodes.
No. The episodes where they debut, not the episodes where the kids try to take them away and they dress them in trench coats and hats.
Yep. Because that is a thing.
God.
Oh, dear. Yeah. But anyway, while getting that, talking about my favorite thing that happened at the convention, while getting that pack was an amazing experience, and I loved being able to hang out with all you guys and talk to people and whatnot. And I did fail to mention this at the final panel where they asked this specific question. There on Saturday we had there in the schedule there was allotted a couple of BotBots trading sessions. I couldn't find the location of the first one, and the second one I went to and confirmed, like, yeah, or one of them I confirmed was like, yeah, it's supposed to be here. I was just sitting there for a while, and then a couple of people did come in, and we were trading and having a good conversation about BotBots. It was a small group, but it was nice. But the thing that happened was that it's after a while, when we are honestly almost about done, a girl came in and she said, "Hi, is this the BotBots training session?" And we were like, "Yeah." It's like, "Okay, who?" So I don't know anything about BotBots, but my best friend who I owe sent me here with a list of BotBots to try to get and money And we were like, sure. And I ended up being the one to work with the trading because to do the direct transaction because I just happened to have most of what she had on the list, and a couple others I traded one of my bots for theirs and then gave it to her and got paid for it. And she got what she could, and she ended it with like, thank you so much. This is going to make one person so very happy. And I just felt so good about that. It was very nice that I was able to help make someone's day with bots. But yeah, what other questions do we have to ask?
What were there any panels or other convention events or convents, that's a bad joke, that you guys were like super interested in or you really liked? Or were they all just kind of standard stuff that didn't really engage you?
I liked the bots panel. I didn't actually go to really any panel besides the ones with the podcasts, really.
Mm-hmm.
I should have gone to the one Miguel was talking about with Aaron Archer. That sounded great.
The Aaron Archer one was really good, and then the other one I'm going to mention was also really good. But
yeah,
and they happened back to back.
Yeah. The auction. The auction I was very excited for, and there was a cool thing that happened in there.
Oh, God.
So I mentioned Grimlockamus before for making my SoundJack custom. He had a couple of things that he had donated to the charity auction. And speaking of, if you didn't know, the charity auction is 100% proceeds going to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, if I'm correct.
Make-A-Wish Canada, but yes.
Yeah, Canada, yeah. But he had, one of the things Grimlockamus had made was IDW Minor Megatron out of the Siege Megatron mold.
Specifically the select one with the more Megatron Origins style.
Oh, yes, that's right, yes. And there were a lot of hands that went up at first, and the guy was going in $5 increments, and it kept going. And then it was like 150, and then we were all starting like going like, no, it was well after 100. It was like, wait, what? And then like 150, 160, and they're still going, and everyone's like turning around and trying to like, what? And it's just these two guys that are basically staring each other down, just wanting to get this. And we happened to be sitting like a couple rows behind Grimlockamus, and he was like in shock that this was happening.
Ultimately, I believe the Minor Megatron went for 280 Canadian.
280? I thought it was 380.
Was 380?
Yeah.
Oh God, that's even worse.
Yes.
But yeah, okay. My brain, I was kind of going, was it 280 or 380? 280 sounds right. 380 sounds like too much. Could have been 380.
Yeah, I think it was 380. It was
Twitter user Third Sergio was the one who won. A prominent Donatreon for the Transmissions podcast, who I ended up speaking a fair amount with throughout the convention, and then he ended up winning our contribution to the raffle on the or at least one of our. Did we contribute more than just my thing?
No.
Okay, so my contribution to the raffle from the Podcasters Roundtable on Sunday, a Siege Ironhide, which ultimately he already had. And then Vangelis proceeded to talk on Twitter the next following week about the fact that he hadn't at the time found Ironhide, which I was like, why didn't we just give Vangelis the Ironhide?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was nuts. Grimlockamus also had a
Snowcat
Ironhide into Snowcat, a Siege Starscream into
Needle Nose,
complete with new head, paintwork, and everything.
Yeah.
Same with Snowcat, and then a Studio Series Rampage into Yellow Rampage, which he had named
Skipjack.
Skip or Skid?
Skipjack, because that's a name that like was given to a version of the Yellow Rampage in Japan.
Okay, so Skipjack.
Yeah.
Also,
it's a canon character and animated because of that.
It was It was funny when that one specifically went up on the auction, because there was there seemed to be like a lack of consensus, at least with everyone in like the front rows, as to whether or not it had been repainted. Because they're like, I mean, this looks like Rampage. It's like, well, they haven't made a yellow one yet. They only made the red one.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, that was
yeah.
charity auction was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think the Snowcat also went for quite a bit. I think over 100 Canadian.
Yeah, me being dumb, I was just like, yeah, probably around like $80 is like where I'll like max out, and then they far surpassed that. But then I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, we're betting in Canadian.
Yeah,
so I should have, at least in my head, done the math of like, okay, I'm gonna limit it at like this much. But
what is
whatever?
Well,
I didn't need the customs.
What is 380 in US anyway?
I don't know off the top of my head.
It's like, okay, using the rough estimate of it's like Canadian is 3/4 a US dollar, it would be 285 US.
$285.36.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so a lot of money.
A lot of money to go to charity.
Yes,
which is ultimately the good thing.
Yes.
I guess if we move along to the Aaron Archer panel was certainly fun, but I think the one that it was a surprising amount of like fun that I had at it, or at least just like it was a really well put together panel and slide show in itself. Like I was like, I want that slideshow template. General Techno on Twitter did a Beast Machines retrospective, going into not the entirety of the franchise, the toy line, the TV show, common themes and everything. It was very well put together, and gave me a sense of really wanting to like buy up some Beast Machines stuff, which was tempered somewhat afterward, but it did lead me to purchase the Vector Sigma that I picked up. Because there was spoilers for Beast Machines. Vector Sigma shows up, and the key to Vector Sigma, along with the plasma energy chamber, all of which are important things to the Rebirth specifically.
Yes.
Yes. More so Vector Sigma and the plasma energy chamber than the key itself.
Yeah,
but,
because the key was destroyed at some point.
I mean, that's the reason why Alpha Trion's dead.
Yay!
But that panel was really well put together, and then I was able to both commend Techno for it and also say like, hey, I'm so and so on Twitter. We've known each other for years.
Yeah.
Which was in the lobby on Sunday night. Where I was like, oh, hey, your panel was great. Also, I'm this person. We've known each other for like nearly a decade.
That's great, isn't it?
It was so like there were plenty of people who I like in passing saw who I was like, I should talk to these people because I've known them online for like forever, but didn't because I'm a weirdo. But yeah, it's one of those things where like in the end I feel like I should go to more panels because a lot of the times I'm like, yeah, that's probably going to be a lame panel, and then if I end up going, I'm like, no, this is great.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot there was another one I wanted to go to, and I just completely spaced out on it. It was either that or we were out having dinner and we couldn't make it. It was the I forget what they called it, but the one where they were like arguing for which series was the best.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I don't think we went to that.
No, we didn't.
Do we know which one won?
Yeah, they mentioned at the closing ceremonies that it was the Rescue Bots that won.
Oh.
It's a good show.
Oh, that's good.
It is a good show. But yeah.
Okay. What's the next question then?
Next question. Who has the next question? That's the next question.
Okay. Did we talk about travel at all? Like actually getting to the convention?
Yeah. How was everyone's travels?
So, well, Michael and I went together, and we were pretty good. We took Michael's car, and it was pretty fine. We drove through like the fields of New York and the farms and everything like
Though
that.
at one point we were horrified, as we feared the only thing we could find on the radio at one point was either country or Christian music.
Yeah. But we did find other stations.
Though you were so aghast at how few rap stations there were.
Look. I like my variety, man. I like my options.
Yeah, your options in.
It is very unfortunate to me that Middle America is still allergic to rap music. Like, come on, guys. Rap's been around for like.
Middle America. This is Pennsylvania, New York.
Yeah, Middle America.
Middle America. You know what I mean?
The middle of America.
Yeah.
AKA New York, because apparently that's all that matters.
New York, Texas, and
the
California.
Caliburst I bought in Canada doesn't have its weapon blast effect.
Wait, what?
I just realized that the Caliburst I bought in Canada doesn't have its weapon blast effect.
What? Why?
It never had it. I'm looking at the picture I took.
Oh.
It never came. I'm so mad.
Oh.
Time to buy another Caliburst and then figure out what to do with this one.
Oh.
All right, continue.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, our travel was good. Oh, also the other thing that happened was when we got into Canada, we had forgotten that it would be international and didn't consider about our phone plans. So we got scared for a bit when we thought the GPS wasn't going to work because we didn't have reception.
Right, yeah, no, that was pretty scary. And it was also like I think we both forgot. Yeah, we all forgot about that.
Well, Miguel almost forgot,
end
but
up
Janae
using my internet at all while I was there. I was just surviving off of free Wi-Fi, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which in some parts of the hotel was really good, and other parts not so much.
Like the entire convention floor.
Yes, that had to have its own. That has its own separate Wi-Fi that you needed a code for, but they weren't giving it out at the convention. Because I remember specifically asking about the Wi-Fi with either that or she just brought it up because she knew we were for the convention, and she said there's a separate internet Wi-Fi. The holders of the event should give you the password. They didn't.
No, they didn't. Yeah, it sucked being in the convention center on Wi-Fi because like I could never I would have to leave the convention area in order to use it, which sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, if I wanted to get in touch with when you were in the room I had to message you, but I kept forgetting and I ended up calling you a couple of times and wait, I can't call her.
Yeah, and that was kind of unfortunate too.
Yeah. I ended up talking to my mom and working out getting the international plan purely because we were going into Toronto, and I'm like, I think that's too many of us without a phone in case we get separated.
Right, yeah.
Because I know Eric had it, but Jesse didn't.
No, they both did.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, Eric and Jesse's plan covers the U.S. and Canada, so they were fine.
Oh.
Janae and I had set up our phones to have the international plans, and then you two were the ones who didn't, and then Michael, you got set up with phone calls on Friday, and then the rest of it on Saturday.
And data on Saturday after I was playing Pokemon Go for 20 minutes and was like, congratulations, you've used all of your data. I'm like, what?
And you incurred like what was it, $100 of overage fees?
I think.
I think that's what you told us when we were walking.
That's what the phone said. I don't know if that's actually what got charged.
Right, but you're just like, oh, like this is a warning that you've incurred over $100 in overage fees, and you're like, what? Yeah. And then you called your mother and squared things out, which was good.
Yeah, because I had no idea what I was doing. I just
turn off
assumed. And you know what assuming does? Makes me a fool.
Yes, I do know.
You do know that I am the fool? I am the fool on the hill?
Yes. But yeah, that made for a very interesting time. I have a question.
Yeah.
What was the weirdest thing that was in Canada? Like, what was like the most like this is something I would never find in the U.S. kind of moment?
Hold on.
Good McDonald's.
Yeah, good McDonald's. I agree with that. Also, Eric did have a response for the driving. He said, uneventful driving with an absurd amount of singing, so pretty good.
Nice.
I definitely know what Eric's answer would be. And it's related to the thing we can't talk about.
Oh, yeah.
No, it was the cheap ghost peppers that he found.
Oh, that! Yes. That's right. He got those cheap ghost peppers, and his mouth was on fire for a long time. Amazing. Yeah, the local delicacies weren't kind to him.
I think for me, the weirdest thing was, I guess, like, how flat the landscape was. I don't know. It reminded me a lot of Florida with how flat everything was.
Yeah, it was very flat.
I'm used to mountain, like, not mountains, but, like, a lot of hills. And a lot of forest.
Yeah.
Where I live, but here it was like flat grassland.
Yep.
So it reminded me of Florida in that way.
Yeah.
Which is also just very flat.
Yeah. Florida with a lot of pine trees.
Also, I was surprised by how like I thought customs was going to be a lot harder to get through, but yes. We actually didn't run into too much traffic either way, which was surprising.
Yeah. Didn't take long at all. We got through pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, surprisingly. Miguel, yes. What about you?
The main thing with travel for me was probably just the length of the time driving. Like I was the one who did most of the driving, so the amount of driving certainly took a toll on me. My legs hurt more so coming back into the States than it was leaving to Canada. I will say that once we got into Canada, Canadian drivers drive way better than drivers in New Jersey.
Yes.
I think so much kinder. Jersey especially got worse after I came back, because the amount of times I have nearly been in an accident since coming back from Canada is more than my entirety of driving. Like in all of my years of driving prior, I have nearly gotten into more accidents in the past couple of weeks than in the rest of that time combined, which is either something of like something happened to all the drivers in Jersey, or it could be me, but I will blame the other drivers, not me.
Yep, everyone else on the road is the moron. But Alyssa, we have to talk about the hotel.
Oh yeah! Oh my God! Yes, we do.
So when we reserved the hotel, we reserved it early enough, but we reserved it kind of late, and late enough that they didn't have any open rooms Sunday. So we thought, okay, instead of trying to drive home Sunday and basically miss all of Sunday, how about if we reserve a room at a hotel across the border? We'll stay for the convention, rest of the convention, drive a couple of hours, so when we had to travel Monday, it wasn't all at once. And I just was like, okay, let's find a reasonably cheap hotel in Buffalo because we just need it for one night. I'm like, oh, this looks good. It's got rated pretty well. Nice price for just one night in Buffalo and compared to everything else in the area. It was so weird. Okay, we coming into it, it has this enormous fountain of water, like huge, like insanely massive. And then we have to find the parking, and it's in a parking garage, which was a bit sketchy and also very weird because there was no one in the garage. There weren't any cars. There's like 3.
Yeah.
We parked and we were like, okay, which way to the hotel? And we come into the hotel and it's on this kind of rickety elevator. And the first room we run into is basically like an like 50s ballroom area with like old carpeting. The lights weren't on. There's just minimal lighting, and it was like, this feels creepy. And then we get to the front and it's nice again because there's a really nice restaurant with like nice wood beams in the front. It just looks like just got renovated. And then we go to the elevator, it's rickety again. And then we get to our floor and the TV's playing what? Like crap. What's
King of the Hill?
Yes. It's playing King of the Hill. And the hotel with how dark it was and the like decor of the halls, it felt like a knockoff of The Shining. It was like a cheap motel that like looked dingy, and like the only really good light was at the end of the hall, and there was a light flickering. And then our room was like a weird mix of the old stuff, but like had a lot of new stuff in it to try to like make it appear fancier than it was.
Yeah.
So it's just a weird mix of energy that was just.
I likened it to like it was basically it felt like a kind of comfort inn that was trying really hard to be a really fancy joint.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a really weird experience.
Oh, and then dinner. When we got in, we sat down for a little bit, and then we're like, okay, what do we want to do for dinner? And we're looking for close by things, and we're like, oh, hey, this place looks good. Well, we can walk there. There's no one on the street. There's no one else walking on the street. We go to where it's supposed to be. There's no indication of where it could have been.
No, yeah.
And everything else was basically closed. We ended up just like getting like salads and chips from the food court in the hotel.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I know that Buffalo isn't like the most populous city, but I was surprised how few people were out and about. It wasn't even dark yet. No,
I mean the sun was setting, yeah, but like no one. It was like I was walking through.
Like I've been to Morristown at night, and there were more people walking around on the street.
Yeah.
And Morristown is sort of near where I live, and like here in Buffalo, a major city, just nothing.
Yeah,
I was like, okay.
It's so weird. But yeah. So that was our murder hotel experience. It wasn't a murder hotel. It was a very nice place, but a very weird place. If there was a murder that happened that became like a true story type of movie, I would not be surprised. What aspects of the trip haven't we talked about yet?
So we talked about panels. We talked about what we got. We talked about things we did that were not related to the convention itself.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about traveling.
Oh, I have a question specifically for Miguel.
Sure.
How was the pool? Miguel?
The pool was, I'm here.
Okay.
The pool was great. We managed to, it seemed like every time that we were like, and people who wanted to go to the pool were like, oh, let's go to the pool. The water slide wasn't open, and anytime that the water slide was open, because they had people attending the water slide, I guess, to make sure no one got hurt, that's whenever we were heading off to do something. But the one time we went to the pool, it was Janae, Eric, and Jesse, along with myself. It was toward, like, we probably were there for maybe like an hour. It was nice and everything. There was a pool, hot tub. Yeah, it was nice just to swim, relax, and whatnot. Eric, for whatever reason, brought his arch enemy, his fans hobby, Nemesis Prime, or the Scourge, rather.
Yeah.
He had it in like a cubby. It's very, very strange. But no, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any other things they want to talk about from the convention?
It was really cool being in Canada again. And going abroad just in general. I'm totally up for going again, I guess.
Same. And that's
I'm trying to
honestly,
think if there's anything else.
that honestly was going to be my next question. Would you go to TFCon Toronto again?
As long as I get to do things that aren't necessarily just TFCon, then yes.
Yeah. Miguel, would you go to Toronto again for TFCon?
Yes.
Cool. I'm just messaging Eric the question now, so I'm going to give him a moment to respond and go with the next question. How did it compare to other TFCons?
It
Wow.
was better than Chicago, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say like the Reston was very small, but it was in a more centralized location with a lot more like shops and stuff to do, like to go to. Rosemont, Chicago was bigger, but Rosemont left a lot to be desired in terms of things to do outside of the convention.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't really get to go to Chicago, which kind of bummed me out.
Yeah.
But I think Mississauga and the Toronto convention was a nice happy medium. Like, it was in a city with a lot of stuff to do in it, and it was also wasn't too far away from the city itself.
Yeah.
So like you could take public transportation in there and it would be easy to get in.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all very good.
Yes.
I definitely think out of the ones I've been to, TFCon Toronto 2019 was the best one. And I do very much hope to go again next year.
Yeah, me too.
Miguel, how did Toronto compare to you compared to Chicago?
As I said before, I don't know if you heard me. It was better.
Oh, okay. I had not heard you. Okay. No specifics then, I guess. Yeah, Eric doesn't seem to be responding. So with that, I think that's all we have to say on TFCon Toronto. It was a great experience and a great time, and hopefully next year I don't spend as much.
Yep, gotta get you that get that spending limit down.
There's one comment I wanted to make with the Unicron I purchased, because, and this is also a quick story, because that was the same week we learned that the week before, that Friday, we learned that the next HasLab project was going to be Cookie Monster. And then I went into the room and saw that. And I'm like, okay, there's absolutely no concern about a Unicron happening and of a HasLab Unicron happening right now. So I was like, I'll get it. And also how much Diecast reacted to it. And then eventually it was like, screw it. I'm going to come in. I'm going to get a custom made t-shirt saying, come, with Cookie Monster's face on it, saying, come to the dark side. We have cookies. And then what was it? Yeah, it was Monday because we were driving back. We had stopped for gas. And I was like, what's everyone talking about? And I'm like, what? The HasLab Unicron got announced. And I remember Miguel tweeting something along the lines, thank you to Diecast for giving up, and to SoundJack for buying a Unicron.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that was like the Cookie Monster thing.
Yes.
And then the Unicron was literally announced during the ride home.
Yes. Yes, it was. And now it doesn't seem like it may or may not be getting made because it may or may not have enough backers. Woo! But yeah, just that quick addendum because that was great. But yeah, that was our experience in Toronto at TFCon Toronto in Mississauga. And I truly cannot wait for next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think the TFCon Toronto will be the one you want to go to over Chicago or DC or LA?
Yes. DC would be the second next on my choice, depending upon like availability of my schedule and funds and whatnot. Just because that travel would be cheaper. Right. But honestly, Canada was amazing, and I would love to go there again. And be my preferred choice to go again.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So thank you all out there for watching. If you'd like to comment, share, and subscribe, if you enjoyed this video, you can follow me as well on Twitter and Instagram at SoundJack426. Alyssa, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at The Rational Dove. Also, you can find me on Michael and I's shared gaming channel, RDS Gaming. We're currently playing through Pokemon Coliseum, and maybe someday I'll post a new episode of Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, maybe.
Hopefully that'll happen eventually.
Yeah. Miguel, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter at Logos Minor, where most recently you can see a picture of at least two of my gets from the most recent toy show I was at, New Jersey Collectors Con, where I unfortunately spent probably too much money, but did pick up Transmetal 1 and Transmetal 3 Megatron to complement the Transmetal 2 Megatron I picked up at Toronto.
Ooh, very nice.
Sweet stuff.
And since he was involved in the podcast, you can find Eric on Twitter at Eric Crowbar, on Instagram at Aramis Prime, and on YouTube at Eric Crownover. And you should also check out his main project, Nerdy Geek Talk, that network that I'm also involved with, especially the Steel City Bots podcast. And yeah, so that's all we have to say. Thanks for tuning in. This is SoundJack, Alyssa, Miguel, and Eric signing off.